Have you ever thought how to speed up your IT career? Have you ever thought why some engineers, architects, leaders, and scientists are more successful than others? My name is Łukasz Karwacki and I love asking questions. I invited here many industry experts with different backgrounds and point of views. This is Engineering Growth Club podcast. Welcome on board. Hi, and very warm welcome to our special guest today, Laan van der Laan, an ex-corporate leader who left his career behind to help people achieve their full potential, and a remote work advocate. Hi Laan, it's great to have a conversation with you today. How are you today?
Hey, Łukasz. Yeah, good to see you after such a long time. Thanks for having me here. I'm doing great, actually. You know, it's summer. Business is a bit more quiet than usual, but I'm enjoying it, actually. And I'm pumped up to join you on this interview.
Okay, thanks a lot. I was just thinking because I've seen a couple of your posts on LinkedIn, and one of the posts was something that if you take your computer home and working from home, it doesn't mean that you are a remote team. How would you address this?
Yes, I love that one because I'm like a big advocate of remote work. And not because I just like to take my computer anywhere and work from anywhere, but I like what it actually means going remote. In my opinion, going remote is way more than the location where you work. Especially for the leaders of tomorrow, remote work is about rethinking everything that we do on a daily basis in business. It's rethinking processes. It's rethinking how we communicate. It's rethinking how we set goals and how we inspire the team to, feel more than just a person who gets paid to tick off a to-do list. So to me, remote work it's a whole new mindset. It's a revolution in a way. I really believe that remote work goes into the line of we had the industrialization revolution, then we had internet, and now we have remote work. And people do not realize it yet, but we are at the beginning of a change of the way people work and do business, which is going to go into a history box in decades from now.
So this is what you stated. It sounds like a kind of new steam engine. I would say that this is kind of a milestone in the history of ways of working, like the steam engine change our mindset approach to work, right?
Yes, I really believe so. And it's so exciting to be part of that. And in what we do with helping customers to step up their remote game, it's just so exciting to be part of that revolution, really.
Okay, that's sounds fantastic. Okay, you mentioned that it's so exciting. What is most exciting for you going remote?
I believe that remote work, if done right, is just much better reflecting natural human behavior in terms of, we all want freedom of movement, we want freedom of choice, we want to feel like we are in charge of our own lives. And if you compare the old office way working with the new remote way working, I believe that remote work is just much more reflecting that natural human needs of being in charge and having that freedom. And it's being part of that revolution, what I said earlier, is that's what's so exciting about remote work. That in a couple of decades from now, the world will not know different than that is the way how we do business. That's the way how we work. And that is just so exciting to be part of, if done right, of course, because I also believe that the world is still learning about remote work. There are great examples of companies out there who already have lots of experience with remote work and are very, very good at it. But, it's like Facebook, Siemens, Google, Amazon. Those are huge names who just this year decided that they will be leaders in going remote and that they will also implement remote work as their preferred way, like remote first. So imagine those big players, they start now. They just start, and they can have such an incredible impact in the world to make remote work much more than what we think it is right now. And that's just the most exciting part of going remote. If you are a company and you decide to go remote, you're part of the leading group, the leading herd who's going to change the course of this world. That's what I really, really believe.
Okay, you mentioned a couple of big players on the market. Actually, I wanted to ask, partly you answered this question, but I just wanted to ask, what's the most common working strategy for the big players? Are they going to implement, for example, next year? Is it remote, hybrid, or office? Do you have any opinion or any observation from your perspective?
Yeah, well, they already announced that they will be leaders in remote work. So the traditional full office, like office first mode, that's going to change. I don't believe that remote work should be 100% away from offices, because remote work is much more than being either in an office or from your home place. Now, remote work is what I said in the beginning. It's about different way of designing processes. It's about different hiring processes. It's about rethinking what we do in such a way that it doesn't anymore matter where you do it from, but that includes a physical office. So I believe that most companies, especially the larger ones, they will benefit from still having a physical office, but it's based on the processes and based on the culture and based on the way the operation functions, not necessary to be in the office. So I believe that the big companies, they will never go 100% remote, but the office place will change its function to become more of a hub for social interaction, a hub to come together when there is an ideation session, for example. But after the ideation, people fly out again to their own bases, and there they provide the deep work. That's where they really execute the things that can be done from anywhere. So yeah, I believe that the hybrid solution is the way to go, and the big names will probably choose to go that route.
Okay, so I understand that hybrid it will be part of the work remote and the other part will be like your office is a social interactions hub.
Yes.
This is what yeah, all right. That's
Yeah.
great idea.
It will have workplaces. I see workplaces there, but rather more in a sort of hot desk style instead of having a fixed desk for everyone. Yeah, it will be a much more flexible space, less work desks, more inspirational spaces, inspirational meeting rooms where creativity gets boosted. Maybe places to go to a gym together. Like instead of going to a separate gym, why not going to a gym together inside the main office of your business? Having lunch together in the office is a great way of social interaction as well. And that's what I said. It is not about whether your people are never interacting physically anymore with each other that defines remote work. Remote work is this rethinking of everything that we do so that it doesn't depend on physical locations any longer.
All right, sounds good. So just coming to my mind that engineering teams mostly they've been working for years a part of like in the hybrid style
Yeah.
because engineering teams are usually far from the location of the main business users. So this kind of implementation already been done a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
One of the examples about the big players, they've been doing this for years. Especially, I think Google been quite advanced in this. But I've got a question. As an engineering manager, what's the most common obstacle going remote with technology teams?
Mm-hmm. Well, I believe that technology teams are not much different than any other team. In the end, it's all about people. And what is the most difficult part and what costs the most effort for leaders of remote teams is to build or maintain a trust-based organization. For in a remote world, this is the most important thing, to keep your team as a team together allow people to expand their own creativity in that what they do. That is the biggest hurdle and the biggest obstacle I see for any team that decides to be remote, to maintain that trust level, which is so important for psychological safety. Psychological safety is it's been proven by numbers of studies that this is like the basis of high performance culture. If there's no trust, you forget high performance.
I think that Google years ago was implementing a project. I think Aristotle, they were thinking what's the difference between average teams and high performance teams, and they have some science based results. And just you mentioned trust level. I just would like to ask you how in this hybrid environment we can keep the trust level on the highest possible level.
Great question, really. And it's a number of things, but let me touch upon the most important ones. And that is leaders need to be putting much more effort in communication. They have to be natural, strong communicators in the first place. I think this is so or so a quality that's important for leaders in general, but in the remote world it requires more effort, and they need to communicate very strongly about two things. One, they need to communicate their mission and their vision and their goals in line with those mission and visions much more frequently, much more concise and clear to the whole team, to avoid the situation that the people will lose their sense of belonging. That's very important within a team in general, but in a remote setting, it's just increasingly more important because of the difficulty of it, of not being together in the same office as a tribe like we used to be in like prehistoric times. We love to be together because we love to be in this tribe feeling. So when you're a remote leader, you want that your people feel like they're contributing towards something larger than just their to-do list. And therefore, it's very important to review your mission and your vision and your goals more often and really plan as agenda points to communicate those and to keep people in the loop where you are in the process of attaining your goals and attaining the vision of the company. And the second important communication that leaders need to be strong at in the remote world is social communication, where in the past times we had, when we were fully based in the office, we had the coffee machine meetings. I mean, this is something we have heard now already. It comes back all the time. We miss the coffee machine meetings. In fact, yesterday I had a LinkedIn post. One comment was there like, the thing I actually struggle most with is the lack of the coffee machine meeting. But think about it, because what do we discuss at the coffee machine meeting, right? It's not much. But what's really happening at the coffee machine, it's a check-in, it's a pulse check. Are we still on good terms with each other? That is what a coffee machine meeting is really about. Because we humans, we want, in the team that we work, we want to be at good terms with the people that we work in a team with, and as well with our managers. But in the remote setting, especially when you're, remote first, so that says that people are mostly remote, you lose that aspect. And therefore, the leaders need to take the initiative to implement as an agenda point social communication sessions, whether it can even be playing games together online and you can win something, or it can be workshops which are around maybe more personal questions, so that the team all the time feels they stay connected to each other. In fact, last week with one of our customers, I was in such a workshop. I was participating as well. So there was like a group of 20 people. They came all together on the Zoom, and then afterwards they got a list of questions, and then there were breakout sessions with smaller groups in Zoom of 3 to 4 people, and then you had to answer really fun questions actually, and we had so much fun. We were laughing together in that session for about 20 minutes long about our answers on those questions. And after that meeting of just 20 minutes, I really had the feeling that this specific lady from Romania, I knew her better after that session, and we really related to each other in a way while we did it digitally, not at the physical coffee machine. And that is to say that it's so important to make that part of your weekly or bi-weekly or monthly routine, to make time and an agenda point for these social communications, and leaders need to be on the forefront of that. Yeah, that is the two things under the communication quality that leaders in the remote world need to display. And that's why it costs them more effort, because the unplanned coffee machine meeting costs less effort than thinking this out and making it an agenda point for the team.
Yeah, actually, I agree because in the remote environment, it's much harder to build proper business relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So this is, you mentioned, we need to put more effort. So from this statement, my takeaway would be that tech teams, business teams, whatever teams, they are all about people, not just a team.
Yeah.
And the second, my takeaway would be that you need to communicate naturally and be very careful to build the right trust level.
Yep.
And the next one would be the breakout sessions are the key to build the tribe culture and get to know each other instead of coffee machine. The breakout session can be a replacement for a coffee machine ad hoc meetings.
Yeah, it's one of the examples. There are other examples as well, how you can, get the team together digitally. And I would also advocate really for having like retreats, team retreats, whether it be quarterly or twice yearly, I don't know. But if you don't really see each other that much, it makes total sense to go a week somewhere to a lake together and really co-work for 1 week long. Um, to do mix in this physical contact. But yeah, then after that week, when you go back to the office, make sure that it doesn't die off and that you keep this social interaction also alive. Together with, of course, the more business talk around where are we with the goals, where are we with our vision and mission, and how are we going to proceed attaining those. That ties in very much into building trust.
Okay, thanks a lot. So just to wrap up our conversation, could you give us 2 or 3 takeaways, very little tools or things which we can implement the next day to become a better remote teams?
Yes. So the key takeaways that I would give are, in my opinion, in my world, they have to be all around trust, because that's like the basic foundation of building a high performance remote team. And that is, first of all, as a leader, you need to focus on outcomes, not on the activity, but on outcomes. And shortly, why? If you focus on outcomes and not on activities, you allow people to use their own creativity and their own way of achieving things. And that is where you use the intelligence of the people in your team in the benefit for the benefit of your attainment of your goals. Whereas if you focus on activity, people feel micromanaged, and micromanagement is something that's going to be a big obstacle in the coming months or years ahead when it comes to going full remote in the world. And leaders need to be aware that if you expect your people to be online now from 8 till 10 in the evening because, it's just a Slack message that you have to answer, that's when you're focusing on activity. Allow people to have time off to focus on delivering outcomes. That's like number one. Number two is you have to communicate your goals much more often and involve your team in the goal setting process, because the risk that they feel they are just being paid to tick off a to-do list is very big. It's much bigger being remotely than when it is in the office. Because in the office you have many other tribal factors which are contributing towards the sense of belonging, which would make up for less clear goals. But when you're sitting at your home at your kitchen table, you don't have the sense of belonging as strong. You want your people to feel as if they are contributing really to something larger than just that list of tick off boxes. Yeah. So that's like number two. Number three is what I said in the last question: make time and make it an agenda point to have this social interaction with each other. It is imperative to keep the social aspect alive, and it's maybe unusual to do it online, and it cannot replace the physical contact. If you do it consistently and you try to be novel all the time when you have such a social interaction, you will reap maybe not 100% of the same results, but 70% of the results of the physical contact as well. I've seen it myself, and it works, but leaders need to keep it alive. So that's the three things, Łukasz.
Oh, thank you very much, Leon. So I will challenge this a little bit. What's for team members to build more trust in the team?
I like challenging questions, Łukasz. To answer that one, I believe that team members, it's not just up to the leaders, obviously. The team members carry also a responsibility from their side to bring up when they're not okay, when they feel like they're missing some input to perform their work in the best way possible, or generally if they're just not feeling good in the team and they struggle with certain emotions. To make remote work, everyone carries the responsibility to bring that up. And now I know what you're thinking. It's like, okay, but that's also then up to the leaders. Yes, that's true. Leaders need to plan also individual time with all their team members so that there is a space and the time for every team member to be heard as a person, to be heard as an individual. Whether it's weekly or bi-weekly or 3 times per month, it depends a bit on the size of the team. There needs to be created an agenda item for each individual specifically to understand that. But the team member carries the responsibility to bring up when things are not clear, when goals are not clear, when projects are not well designed so that people get lost. That's the responsibility for the team members as well to make remote team work.
Okay, thanks a lot. So we got a couple of tools for both for leaders and team members in a remote environment. Thank you very much, Leon, for today's conversation. I hope we'll chat in a few months again.
Likewise.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to be here, really, and wish you luck with your venture there, and lots of new cool interviews coming ahead. And I will be following you closely.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
I would like to invite you for next episode with Jessica Sheehan, Data Product Manager and Agile Professional. And there is something else. Remember to follow the podcast so you won't miss next episode. Cheers. Music by Stella Ronson.